But don't tell Mike that, okay? So that's our secret,
I will.
right?
I'll keep it. I'll never break.
The classics.
Works
Nothing
every
says-
time. We'll let
Yikes.
you get set up, Mike.
Hey, I am so sorry. My goodness, this is ridiculous.
Life happens.
We just been sitting here for 45 minutes in silence waiting. So
Yeah. In deep transcendental meditations, trying to reach a higher plane.
Kevin kept saying, I can't wait for Mike to get on. You are boring.
Yeah. I was like, this isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
This is
Yeah, can I just have my pay and go?
yeah. Where are my 1,400 comic books you promised me? All 9.6 grades.
Yeah.
But we'll let you get set up here. We've just been chatting away, and we'll just edit you in like you've never left.
Or never came in late.
I'll pull in recordings from other episodes and just have you
Yeah.
go, oh, yeah, yeah. You'll just
So
do this.
why did you think that?
What's fun is, Mike, you get to hear some of this podcast, and it'll be like for the first time.
I know. Won't that be amazing? Yeah.
I don't remember talking about that.
But somehow I still had an opinion.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, you just dub in a couple of moments and me going, insightful. I'll give you some extra little clips you can use at the ending.
Say
Just
that
put 'em in.
with a couple different nuances.
Please elaborate. And what else?
You're listening to, and this is why I love comics. Andy and Mike!
And I do uncomfortable little while I psych myself up.
That's all right. You do to do, and then I'll just lip smack. I'll be like, it'll just be a bunch of noises the whole hour and a half.
And welcome to another episode of And This Is Why I Love Comics. We are here. Actually, it's Mike. We're short Mike.
Please elaborate.
He's off doing other things, but we're gonna rattle on with the podcast and hopefully join
insightful
later on. Today we are with special co-host Kevin.
Hello, podcast world.
And I love how my podcast voice kicks in and suddenly I stress and lengthen words. We just had a normal conversation. I did none of this, and then suddenly I'm in the podcast and I'm talking like this.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to get your cadence down now since you're stretching words out. I don't want to talk over your.
Kevin's here, and what we originally thought of, Kevin is a new comic reader, which is totally opposite of Mike and myself. We've been collecting.
Please elaborate.
Since we were little kids, little babies. Well, how long have you been now officially collecting, Kevin?
4 months.
Okay. Wow, that is really
what
new.
month are we in? 5 months, maybe? It's super new. I decided one day, I usually buy guitars on eBay. I buy and sell, and that can get pricey. What can I get more bang for my buck with? I was like, how about let's try these comics out and see what's going on with these. I liked comics as a kid, because like we were talking about earlier, we're close in age. So I grew up. I'm 43, so I grew up in the 80s as a kid, 90s. I was like, let's see what these comics are all about. I tried when I was a kid to buy them, but I just never fully got into them. So I'd buy comics here and there, and then they didn't make it with me anywhere.
You thought comic buying would be cheaper than guitars? Well, now have you seen some of the comic prices?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, I've seen them now.
Okay, so guitars are pretty cool. Another thing we should mention about Kevin. Kevin is in Thunder Chicken, which is a grateful sponsor of our show. Lets us use their music for the show. And we actually, I really appreciate that, Kevin, that you let us use it.
No problem at all. I was flattered that you wanted to use it, so I appreciate you getting it out to people that might not have ever heard of us.
Yeah,
but,
maybe got one more listener out of that. I'm not sure, but anything we can do to promote Thunder Chicken, we will do. So
thank you.
Well, let's talk about Thunder Chicken for a second here. How long has Thunder Chicken been around?
It was put together in 1992. I guess officially. Me and the guitarist singer Mike, we met in junior high, so 7th, 8th grade. We started kind of playing guitar together in summer of 8th grade into our freshman year. I don't know if we were the only two guitarists at Ottawa Hills, but we were the only two that knew each other, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Actually, probably doesn't make sense at all. Anyways, we thought, hey, you play guitar, I'll play guitar. Let's sit in my garage with this little 10-watt amp and write some music. And our friend Brian sang. So technically, we weren't a band. It was just two guitarists and a singer. But then the following, we were still calling ourselves Thunder Chicken, and we did have original songs. And we played like high school shows, like choir shows, not like official concerts, just like where the choirs performed, then we'd perform to our songs.
Insightful.
Which was very cool that our choir teacher supported us in that.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I was in choir, and so, but we never had a cool band.
We weren't cool, but I guess we were different because we were the only ones doing original music at that point, as freshmen. And then the sophomore year, Will, our bass player, and Joe, our drummer, came to Ottawa. We had known Joe previously, but Will we met that year. Fun backstory about Will. Before he got in the band, he'd actually this all revolves around choir too. We'd be in choir, and he was in another band, and he would just stare at me, and I'd be like, "Why is this guy just staring at me?" And it was not scary. It was just annoying. I was like, this guy's saying, he thought he was intimidating me. It was some weird band on band, like gang action that I wasn't in on. So he was just staring at me. I was like, why is this dude staring at me? And he thought he was like fighting a battle.
Right, yeah. And he was winning in his own mind. Right?
He was definitely winning. Fast forward, his band broke up and he joined the Heated Rival and then never looked back. So
okay. And the name Thunder Chicken, which I mean it's a great name. I love it. I even bought a t-shirt of it, and I wear that. Where did that come about?
Please elaborate.
So that was a club on Alpine back in the 70s when, again, in high school, when I went to it, it was Club 911, and me and Mike, the singer, were being brought to a Mustard Plug show by my father. And as we pulled up, he was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I remember this place. This is called the Thunder Chicken back in the 70s. And we laughed, and we were looking for a name, and we laughed, and we thought it was hilarious, and there it is. We were like, okay, Thunder Chicken it is.
That's the one. That's great. That's awesome.
You can definitely, whenever I'm flyering, or, back in the day when I flyered, you could tell who either knew us or knew that bar.
Right.
Because it was either, oh, this band, I like this band, or it's like, oh, I saw Kansas at the Thunder Chicken, or Kiss, or like this.
You're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, because we started, well, technically we played Mulligan's, or not Mulligan's, excuse me, Intersection open mic when I was 16, but that was the open mic shows. And so we were only going up for one or two songs. But
and you're still playing now, right? Not so much.
Ish. We were playing once a year, and then COVID hit, and we just haven't gone back into the swing of things. We'll never break up, but it's one of those things of, do you want to play a show? Do we have the time? Let's book a show. And it's just muscle memory. It takes a month for us to get all the songs worked out. I miss it. I miss playing live. There's nothing like it.
All right, let's talk about comic books.
Okay.
That's why people listen in.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, I was trying to, and maybe I'll find it and get it to you. Fun fact, Thunder Chicken does have a comic book. On our CD, there's a hidden track, and you could play a choose your own adventure game, and it's the people that put it together made a comic book of us, and you walk through it. And I was trying so hard to find it. I can find a clip of it on YouTube where I'm going through the screens. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll send you that link so you can see it, or put it up in the episode.
All right, I'll do that. That sounds like fun.
That's my way of connecting to the podcast.
Right, yeah, exactly. Okay, so you're a new collector. You decided 4 months ago, hey, I need to stop buying guitars and I need to get something more affordable. Comic books.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
how do you start? Like what's the first thing you do? Is it all internet or do you go to a comic book store?
Yeah, it's all been eBay. So I'm probably like not even a true collector. I'm basically a comic book eBay collector.
Well, if you bought one, you're a comic collector.
Yeah.
You're in the club.
Yeah. So at first I was like, I didn't have any structure, so I was just literally buying lots. I bought 2 lots of like 25 for like $15, something like that. And those came, and I was weeding through them, and they're like Avenger here, X-Men here, a lot of X-Men, and I just kind of look them up online to see what the value. They're all like $1 or $2. You know, obviously they're not going to give you anything gold in them. And then actually I was like, well, I want something. I want to focus in, so I'm not just all over the place, because this is, you know. So I actually think at that point, that's when me and you started talking about it, and you're like, what would you be interested in? And you gave me some suggestions. You said Black Adam. I said Black Panther and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I actually, when I first started, I looked at those, and those, like you said, those are the guitar prices.
Right,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
Original ones.
Yeah, those
So I was like, whoa,
ones.
maybe those are out of my league. I did look into Black Adam. You told me about...
I think I told you 52.
Yes. So actually, fun backstory on that. You told me that copy 52. I went on and I found the whole series for $40. I just bought the whole.
Oh, that's not bad.
Whole 52 week.
I think I spent more getting it weekly than you just spent on the whole series.
On the whole series. And it came in a big box. So
yeah,
it's like there's a lot of comics in here.
Right.
So I got that, and I actually got, where is it? As I talk to myself, I got the first appearance, Shazam number 8 of Black Adam. Yeah.
Wow.
So that right now is probably the jewel of my collection. Right. In my opinion, no one else's, just mine.
Oh no, that's a sought after
because it's
book.
old. And then I'm putting together Black Panther series, 6 issues in that. Does that sound right? I don't know. The first run of that.
The Jack Kirby stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the original first appearance or first series anyway, not
first series. Yeah, not first appearance. That was a little out of my league. Yeah, I looked that up. And then just to give myself a third thing too, I started collecting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I went back to that. I was like, I really want to collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the Adventure series, which seems to be pretty. There's like 72 of them, but they're all reasonably cost. So I'll probably end up spending the amount of a nice guitar, but at least I'll have 72 books.
Right. Now, are you reading these or are you just collecting these?
The Turtles I'm reading through. I haven't read through the Black Panthers. I will eventually. That's what I want to do. Like, I'm not reading through all the lots. I just kind of separated all those and kind of went through them.
Yeah.
I wasn't all that interested in reading, because they didn't really seem to have a pattern to them either. So they were kind of all over the place.
Random.
But yeah, I have been reading the Turtles. I have the first 3 miniseries of that. So I read those. And actually, I have some questions for you later too.
If it's about turtles, I'm not sure if I know. Turtle
please elaborate.
But...
It's more comic book questions overall that I'm curious about, and they'll be super newbie. Like, you'll be like, "Oh, that's a generic question," but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
But I haven't been a new collector in quite a while, and I'm amazed at people who start collecting now, because it's just a different beast than what it was when I started. It's very much a collector's market, where when I started it was just, hey, we'll get these funny books out, kids will love them. It was very oriented towards kids and children, which is probably what drew my attention. But it really wasn't dumbed down. That's not what I mean. But it was just, it hadn't reached a point where the publishers knew that they had quite the adult audience that they did, and so there wasn't much adult type style. Now that would change in the 80s, in the mid 80s with The Dark Knight. You would probably like Frank Miller's The Dark Knight.
I've heard that name, Frank Miller.
And Watchmen came out in the mid 80s, and just like a great load of comics that were just for adults, not really for kids. And that's when it really changed. But I'm just amazed at someone who wants to collect now. Prices are only going up. Like they're not. There's a huge market right now. People are just wanting to collect something, and like some prices are just way out there. My example is I was trying to get a complete collection of DC Comics Presents, and there was only, I think there's 97 issues of that, and I had quite a bit of them, and I eventually got all but one, and that issue, it turns out that I couldn't get a hold of, I couldn't find anywhere at a comic store, was the first appearance of He-Man in the DC universe. Like it was, for some reason, they put him in this Superman team-up book in the 80s, and I didn't realize that book was going for such a high price. It's like when I first started collecting that series, I probably got the rest of the series for under $100. And then I'm going to look for this single issue that I'm missing. And at the time when I first started looking for it, it was going for like $30, $35. And stupid me didn't jump at that price at all. I'm thinking like, oh, I can just find it somewhere in the wild and I'll get it for like $2. You know, somebody will have it in a bin. I'll get it for $2. And then come to find out, the next time I go looking for it, it's jumped to like $150. You know, like within 4 months of me looking for it, it jumped up so high because suddenly Netflix had two He-Man series out, and it just, and now it's, you know, now the average price is like $180. So it quickly got out of hand during COVID, especially. Like prices are just going up. Now, eventually I got it for about $100, but it was way more than I wanted to, and stupid me should have jumped at it at $30. But that's crazy to me, that this series that no one really cared about, and then suddenly this issue just jumps up there, and it's all across the comic land. Like if it even hints at a first appearance, or it's like some key issue. Like, oh, he changed his someone changed their costume, and like prices are just going crazy. And some of that is because like the Marvel movies and DC TV shows and stuff, like they're throwing out characters for the first time, and people are going back to the comics and trying to collect their first appearances and stuff like that. Now, you chose Black Adam. Is there a reason it was Black Adam, or was it the movie that was coming out?
Yeah. That it's The Rock is the reason that my mind went to that. Because to your point, I'm not doing this to buy and then quickly sell. I'm planning on buying and sitting.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, well, what's out there that could hit but might not be super expensive right now? And obviously, all the hoopla about Black Adam coming out, I figure, well, maybe that's a good one. But of course, with saying that, there's so much buzz about him, the prices are already probably going up from it anyway. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then they hinted at my favorite character, Dr. Fate. He's going to be in the Black Adam movie, and I'm suddenly looking for his first appearance, and I'm thinking, oh, it's already out of my price range anyway. And yeah, that's just the way it goes. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost what I'm finding is comics are. Well, this probably goes across board for everything, but it seems like comics are almost like stocks. You have to like almost guess what might be the next movie or TV show, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And I played that game too when the new Wonder Woman movie came out, and I heard the Cheetah was going to be the villain. I went and looked to see what the first modern appearance of the Cheetah was, and I could get it for like $10, so I bought it, and it'll go up, you know, but it's, you know, I don't think it went up that much because the movie wasn't very good, but yeah, I mean, you know, I get it. I get the speculation, and some of that's fun to do. Like, you just, okay, you know, maybe this book will come out and it'll go, you know, the price will triple from what I paid for it, and then I'll resell it. So, I mean, there's some of that, but
Now, in the topic of prices, do you always look for a certain grade? You're mentioning prices are all over the place. What I've noticed on eBay, because that's the only place I've gone, but I've noticed that prices are all over the place, but it's also driven by the grade of the comic. So in your purchasing, are you always like, I'm not going to get anything less than a 7 or less than a
Right.
6? Or do you just try to get your hands on it no matter
It depends
what shape it's in?
what I'm collecting, and yeah, definitely what shape it is in. I won't, if it's like a 1, a 2, or even a 4, I probably won't get it unless it's really rare and I really need it. But like I'm trying to collect all the Justice League of Americas, and there's 261 issues, and I have all but 11 now.
Wow.
And it came out, first ones came out in the 60s.
Mhm.
And I mean, part of that was I collected it throughout the years anyway, so it's not like I went and just bought back issues for all that.
Mhm.
I had a lot already. I mean, I've always wanted every single issue, so I've been trying to get every issue, and I'm down to where the issues now are starting to get kind of really expensive. But probably the last 30 or so I've been buying, I've tried not to just get it because it's there. I've tried to get a good copy, and I'm okay with, oh, it's got a fold in the corner, or it's got writing on it. 'Cause to me, that it means it's got some character to it. You know, I don't need a perfect 9.8 or whatever. I'm not going to resell it. You know, this collection is going to be mine forever. I'll
Okay.
let my kids sell it. But you know, so some of the grading I don't care about, and some I do. If it's an older copy, and if it means I'll buy it at a 5, and it's only $100, where if it's a 6, suddenly it's, you know, 1,200. You know, I'm not gonna spend 1,200 if I can just go down a couple,
Yeah.
because I'll read it once and then I'll store it. So I'm not too worried. I do have a budget, so it's I haven't gotten too crazy about it. I'm not, you know, I haven't spent thousands on a single issue. I realize when I do issue 1, like the Justice League, that one, you know, usually goes for 1,000 or more. So I'm gonna have to save up for that one.
Yeah.
What I won't do, and it bugs me, like I'd rather have a detached cover than any water damage whatsoever. Water damage
Oh.
to me is like, I just hate it. I have a couple with water damage. It's just, that's where if they post on eBay or it looks like it obviously has water damage, I won't even bother with it. It's just, I don't know. It's just something about it I don't like.
It's your right, obviously, as a buyer, and
Right.
so that's good to know too, or interesting. Like, I have seen some. Like, I was trying to find like Teenage Mutant Ninja one I'm collecting now that started with a mini series, and I kept missing on the first copy because it seemed to be all over the place. I'd find one starting bid for like, I don't know, $30, let's say, and then others for $600, and I'm like, why are these jumping so much? They don't look that much different, but it's also you know, you're looking at it online, so I'm still trying to learn how much difference is there in between these grades that make this price shoot up, because these don't look any different to me, but I may have not noticed that. To your point, I may not have noticed water damage on one of them and just thought, since the page was intact, why is this so much lower, you know?
Are you looking, when you're on eBay, are you looking at the sold items? Like, you know how you can filter your searches. I would look at the sold items and see what people are buying them for rather than what people are listing them for, just to get an idea of, like, somebody could list it for $600, but if you go and filter out just to see what people are actually bought it for on the sold, and maybe they're all going for 40 or less, and this person is just crazy, you know. It just, you never know what people think they are worth compared to what most people are buying them for. So
Yes, and I figured we'd tell this story at some point, but yes, I started doing that after my embarrassing purchases.
yeah,
that
let's
you-
hear about this embarrassing purchase.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, so technically it wasn't my first, because the first were those lots that I would just buy. And then I was like, let me step up my game really horribly. And so I bought, let me look up some Avengers, and So I found a couple, and at that point I was basically just looking for what caught my eye for the covers, the art on the covers, and sort of going by price because that also super newbie of me to go, hey, if it's pricey, it must be something sought after. So I found. And I believe I sent you, or I texted Katie these pictures to get your opinion on them, which I should have done before I bought them, obviously. But one was Avengers with Beast on the cover, and the other was Captain America.
Yeah.
You can see how noob I am. I'm
Right.
like, that Captain American guy. Yeah. So the one with Beast on the cover I spent $35 on, and the other one I spent $11. And then without telling her those prices, I sent a text and asked how much Andy would have spent on that. And do you remember what you said?
I think the Beast cover was, I don't know, $3 or $4, and then Captain America
$1.
$1.
So.
Yeah.
So I quadrupled up on that. I felt generous.
Right.
So I was like, here, take my money. Also,
Yeah.
I figured, dumbly enough, if it's on eBay, this person must be pricing it right because they wouldn't sell if he wasn't. But obviously, maybe he was just fishing and he got the fish that he wanted and needed. So.
He did. He said, "Oh, new collector, awesome!"
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, Kevin,
Right.
Let's get him
$30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, So to your point, where you were talking before about seeing what they've sold for, yes, I use that. I also have a website I use to see what the values are graded wise that I go to. I hop over to whenever I'm looking up stuff.
I'm looking for DC Comics Presents number 47, which is the first Masters of the Universe. Because I had gone to a convention just yesterday, and it was the Hall of Heroes convention in Elkhart, Indiana. And I saw the issue I was looking for, number 47, and one booth had it for only a mere $200, and the next booth had it for $400. And they're not on slab. They're not encapsulated. Yeah. They are just regular issues on a board. I'm like going, you've got to be kidding.
Wow, $400.
Yeah, and for a non-graded, it was just like, this is like, I found this in my basement. I moved my furnace filters, and there it was. That kind of a thing. It was just like it was just kind of thrown on a stack of other comics that the guy had. And I thought, ooh, wow, a find. And then it turned out not to be a find, that this was actually somebody who was like going, aha, talking about being suckered. Is more like, I'm going to make you think that this is going to be a deal until you actually ask about it. And then when you do ask about it, that's when it's going to come in.
And in that scenario, are they taking offers, or when they price it that high, it's not even worth giving them the offer?
Yeah, I didn't even bother. I was like going, there's no way. I was like going, wow, this is a great museum. That's all you could tell them. It's like, it's not a store. This is purely just a museum.
It's too bad I didn't know Kevin was collecting Black Adam 3 years ago, because I had that first Black Adam appearance in the DC Universe, extra copy, and I sold it.
And what you're saying is, had you known I was collecting, you could have doubled your money.
Right, yeah.
Whatever you got, you would have
$400.
got. Yeah. And I'm giving you a discount.
Right.
Yeah, for you.
Right, for you.
400. I would have been like, okay.
$3.99.
Sounds good.
Did the next purchase you had, Kevin, did that go better in your mind? Like, you went, oh, okay, I think I get it now.
Yeah. So what I've started to do is, like you mentioned, I look at bought for. I also look for what they're going for, like either starting bids or buy it nows. I aim for obviously the low end to maybe a little bit above the lowest end. Like, I won't buy it high anymore ever again. So I have a spreadsheet that I'll say I put what I paid for it and what I'm finding them going for, and as long as I'm near the lower end of it, I feel good about that. Like I mentioned, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures I'm putting together right now, there's 72 books, but it started with a 3 miniseries run. First issue was the first appearance of Rocksteady and Bebop,
Oh, really?
which, like we were talking about earlier, anytime there's first appearance, I think that bumps prices up, which
Yeah,
makes sense.
especially lately. Yeah.
So that one I had a chance to get for 40, and I didn't jump on it.
I was gonna say, because like especially now that if there's anything in the movies, in the works in the movies, that's the other aspect of it. You know, if it's not just a matter of them making their first appearance, it's also, oh, they have a TV show out right now. You better, you know, all of a sudden those issues become insanely valuable.
But so, anyways, that first copy has been my next high. Like I've gone past the bad buy. That one I got for 60,
Okay.
which it ranges from 32 to 150 from what I found. And since I'm putting that whole series together, I don't feel that terrible spending that amount on it. I'm game wiser. It's good to get kicked in the butt every now and then to you learn your lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, I've probably overpaid for musical equipment, you know, at some point in my life. So now it's my turn to hear your horror stories.
Mike, do you have any horror stories of purchases that you later look back on and went, oh?
It's not like a horror story as far as like terrible purchase or anything like that. But again, I was at a Comic-Con, and not a very big one, but a Comic-Con, and they had a key issue I was missing. And I'm like going, oh crap, I better get it now. Not even haggle. I'm just going to get it just so that I've got it. And then I can say, I made my purchase for the convention, this little show. I'm good to go. And I bought it, paid X dollars for it. And then I went to the very next booth and I found it in a dollar bin. And it was just like, if I had just either come around the other way to it, and I would have gone through the booth, the dollar bin first, or if I had just did what I usually do, which is like a quick circuit of the entire show and then come back and do the scrutiny, I would have been in better shape. But yeah, I totally goofed on that one and bought it, and then realized I probably spent I'll say, yeah, it was about $40. I bought it, and then I saw it in the dollar bin.
So I'm assuming there's no return policy?
Yeah, you can't go back to, it's like, hey, remember I just bought this from you?
Yeah, I found it cheaper next door.
Yeah. I was like, oopsie doodles. Yeah, that was a lesson learned. And then on the eBay front, and this is not necessarily comic books, but this is one of those, like, you really need to know what you're ordering. But I had and I don't know if this is a relevant analogy, but if you're familiar with the movie called Spinal Tap, this might make some sense. But what I thought I was getting was this full-size Masters of the Universe figure, and it was this micro figure. And I was like, wow, I wonder why shipping's so cheap on this. And I paid like ridiculous price for it, thinking that it was one of these older figures and then vintage figures. And then, yeah, so it was kind of like the, lowering of Stonehenge when it arrived. It was like, what the heck is this? It's like a foot tall. That's not,
I have a similar story on that, but trying to get all these Justice League of Americas, and I see this one issue, and I think it was the first appearance of Solomon Grundy or some stupid thing like that in the Justice League, and it's probably like issue 40 or 50, something in the mid range. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, why is this guy got to buy it now for like $10? This everybody else is selling it for like 85, 90 at least. Why? And so I bought it, and then a couple weeks later I get it in the mail, and it's in this huge package. And what's most comics come in something slightly bigger than a comic package, and this one, why is this so long? I opened it up, and it was the poster for the cover of that issue. And I apparently hadn't read the interior description of it, and just saw the title of it, and so I got this poster of this issue instead of the actual book, and I'm thinking, oh, that's great and wonderful. But reading the title of it, you'd had never known that it was just the image of the thing. But it's like, oh, okay. Lesson learned. So I just learned from there, moved on.
Why can't you take it all away and
that leads me to a question. Is there, no matter a price book that either of you have or both you have, do you have your own book that no matter the price, you're not letting it go? Or is there always a price?
Mike?
Yeah, there's man, I'm on the one item away from being a hoarder. So like legitimately I'm going to have a family intervention here at some point. There are, I'm actually thinking about dumping the bulk of them. In fact, I bought 4 short boxes for this very reason. I bought 4 short boxes and I said, I'm going to put all the comics that I will really want and don't want to get rid of into these 4 short boxes. I thought that'd be plenty. And holy crap, it was just like watching those episodes where it's like, no, that one you can't sell. That one I got that one with your Aunt Gladys and I bought it down in, and it's just like, holy crap, I got to get rid of this stuff. But I am intending on getting rid of a bulk of them. But sentimentality on some of it is, I know, as dumb as it is, and the art is just not there. The story is mediocre at best, but it is Marvel's Godzilla series. It was 24 issues, and that was the very first comic series I ever bought. And this was like, I bought it with the intent of getting all of these issues. Mm-hmm. And and I was like, yeah, I can't part with these.
As you were talking, I'm trying to think through my collection if there's any book I would never sell. And I love comics. I keep collecting them. I get back issues all the time. I'm pretty sure I would sell any comic that I own, except my favorite comic of all time is Justice League of America 200. And it's just sentimental. It's not worth anything. There's no value to it or whatever. I mean, I have like 4 copies of it. One of them I have a couple signed by the creators and stuff. I'd never sell that one. But it's just every time I see it, and if it's like in the dollar bin or something like that, I'll buy it and save it from its loneliness in the comic box. But probably that'll be the last issue I own if I had to sell everything else. But I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm attached to some series, and there's stuff I would rather get rid of. Like, there's a long list of things. Okay, before I get rid of this, I'd get rid of this. But I think everything, even if I had Action Comics #1, I would love, who wouldn't love owning a copy of that? Mm-hmm. But if I thought, I need to feed my kids, Arby's every day for a year, I'll just sell it, I'll just remember. I'll take a picture of it and say I owned it, and I'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Cage sell his Action Comics for that very reason to cover some lawsuits.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to feed his kids Arby's every day.
There could be that too.
That would not shock me for him to do that. So.
I don't think. Yeah, it's his imaginary kids.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's cool, and that makes sense for something to be more sentimental than value. Obviously, it's probably more fortunate that you're not attached to the super expensive ones, because then you can just get rid of them and not feel bad about it. So.
Yeah, like Mike said, there's stories. I can remember where I got certain issues, or how old I was, or what 7-Eleven rack it was, and stuff like that. And those would be hard to.
Well, I found it interesting. A couple episodes ago, you two talked about, and I'm pretty sure it was you two, because I only listen to one comic book podcast, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Hey, if you have to listen to one, make certain it's ours.
That it was almost the thrill of it. Like, you would build up, you'd get a whole series, sell it, and then go through the hunt of finding that whole series again. So to me, that I could see me getting into that aspect of it. Like, after I get this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one put together, I'd probably just sell it again and then start going out and seeing if I can find it for cheaper,
Right, yeah. It is about the hunt,
together
too.
Again.
The
Yeah.
hunt is addicting. Like, that's part of the fun is finding it in the wild, or really cheap on eBay, and you're wondering, oh, please let me bid on this and let me win this, and just winning it. And it's some sort of adrenaline rush to complete it.
Yeah.
Your dopamine's kicking in or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've owned the same guitar about 5 times. I just keep buying it, and I sell it. And then, then I sit to myself, I go, oh man, I miss that guitar. So I buy it again. And then there's other guitars that I miss and I buy again. And then I'm like, oh, this is why I sold it because I hate this aspect of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's weird that way. I mean, just you become attached to certain things and other things.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. I'll
One
be right
I
back.
must-
I have to go to the front door and get a package. I'll be right back.
okay. Yeah.
He's got his
Yeah.
deliveries to make. That's just his term he uses to be delicate about it on air.
That's funny.
Yeah, dropping off packages.
Yeah, dropping the kids off. Andy, I thought Katie took the kid. I thought Katie took the kids somewhere.
Yeah,
We should just call him out when he comes back on.
yeah.
Although he has total control over last edit.
Yeah,
So.
then that's not gonna. Yeah, I guess the last 5 minutes are gone. All of it.
Yeah. Why is there a
God.
huge silence? We were talking about you pooping.
Yeah.
So.
What makes it better is that it's like, Andy won't edit it out. He'll just like dead air, just to, so that we know. Yeah, I have ultimate say as to what comes and goes off of this podcast.
That's funny. So you went to a convention yesterday?
Yeah. Entertaining. It's like the first like comic convention I've been to in ages. The last one, honestly, I think the last one I went to was with Andy, and that was the same one here in town or nearby, I should say. Okay. And it was their first one. And the reason why we went to it wasn't for the comic convention part of it. It was just that, we're fans of this Mystery Science Theater show. And two of the former cast members were going to do a live riffing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great.
Nice. From the original show or the reboot?
Yeah, the original.
Nice.
And so we went to see them and we got a bunch of stuff signed. And the way they had it set up, it was like you got into one line no matter what guest you were there to see. And so Dean Cain, who played Superman, was there, and everybody was in line to see Dean Cain.
That's Dean Cain.
And then, and then ultimately, this lady comes around the corner. Is like, is there anybody here not to see Dean Cain? Anybody want to see the Mads from Mystery Science Theater or Reb Brown? I don't know if you know who Reb Brown is, but he and we kind of stepped up and was like, yeah, we're here to see the Mads. And it's like, oh, come on, follow me. And we got to bypass that entire line. Nice. And it was just Andy and I talking with these two guys for a long time because it was just so poorly organized at that point that there was no one else coming up to meet them. They were just glad to have somebody to talk to. And we were obviously fans and we were talking about stuff. And I had brought, some things that I held on to. Again, the Hoarder. I had the original Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan club. I think, was it just called a membership pack? Okay. And, that was like, holy crap, I haven't seen this thing since we created it back when the show aired. And it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of going back. But this convention it had Doug Jones, who played Abe Sapien and is on that Star Trek Discovery show. I'm trying to think of what else he's been in. Mac Tonight. He was the Moon, going that far back.
Wow.
But then there were some others. If you think about any skinny special effects character that's in a practical costume, is probably Doug Jones. So if you watch Pan's the Labyrinth or anything by Guillermo del Toro, he's probably in it somehow. And then John Heder, who was Napoleon Dynamite. Was there as well. So a goodly number of people for both of them. And I was there for the comics to kind of look around and pick up hopefully some vintage Masters of the Universe stuff. And there was a few comics dealers, and I thought it was actually pretty good to see a lot of. I'm going to give them a quick plug, but Tardy's Collector's Corner made their way all the way from Grand Rapids down to Podunk, Elkhart. They were there selling wares.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, just about.
So did you get to meet Dean Cain, though?
We saw him. Yeah. What would have been great is if we just kind of said, okay, thanks. And we said goodbye to them and just walked and cut people off, stepped sideways. And it's like, we approached it from this angle.
Right.
It's
We're
like,
smart.
all right.
No, we didn't.
But then the sad thing was that
He's
they
so
put,
handsome, though.
oh man, that dude maintained it.
Was this, you said it was a couple years ago, was the Doritos lady there? Was maybe he was done dating the Doritos lady at that point?
Oh,
What's her name?
no.
Ellie something.
Right. I think it was pre-Allie.
Yeah.
My brother met them. So it's side story, but kind of connected because it's Dean Cain. But my brother saw them in California once, and I know we haven't met in person, but I'm kind of a large guy. My brother is 6'9". He's even bigger than me.
Holy sweet Moses.
And Dean Cain and the Doritos girl are both like 5 feet. Like he's 5, who knows, 5'7" probably, and she's like 4'1", and he like was standing next to him. He sent me a picture. It's funny. I mean, it's funny to say like most normal or average people. I shouldn't say normal, but most average people look like that to me and my brother, anyways. But anyways, sorry.
You have us
Brilliant.
both on height.
Yeah.
Mike's
yeah.
as tall as I am, so
Okay.
we're all small.
Yeah, I'm
Compared to
6'7", so.
Dang.
Well, I'm small compared to my brother. So.
Right, yeah.
And that's always that fun thing that he can just like everybody else the opposite. And but to him, and he'll make certain he reminds you of it most likely.
Yeah. No, he's funny. He's like anytime we walk through a bar or anything like that, people will like just stare at him, and he's very unaware of it because it's just been his life. Like when you're that tall, you're tall, but you don't really think about it. It's just life, and people will just stare at him, and it's funny because I'll watch people staring. So
We stare at you too, Kevin.
well, that's the funny thing because I see that and I'm like, oh man, look at all these people. Well, they're probably staring at me too. I just don't notice it because I'm used to people. Yeah. But anyways.
Now, the one thing is like, have you and your brother like walked side by side, but then put somebody in between you?
Oh yeah,
and act as if bodyguards.
Yeah, that's people love doing that at the bar. Like, oh, who are these two? We used to tell. He lives in the Detroit area, so when we went out, we used to say we were on the Pistons, just at the end of the bench that we never played, but we're the two worst Pistons. So
yeah, we made the
never
squad.
got anything free.
Yeah. Well, that was one of those things where I always wanted to claim that I was in some sort of movie that no one would recognize me in. And I thought, the look, sir, droids from the first Star Wars. It's like, yeah, that was me. I was like, I don't know if I could pull that off since I was 5 at the time of the movie release, but, it was still kind of like, holy crap, that would have been, like, could you claim something? And people go like, there's no way I can refute it. You can't, it's like, prove me wrong.
Early 90s you could have, but now it's kind of tough.
Yeah. IMDb, nope, not you.
Not you.
Not you.
So, back to comics.
Variant covers are what throw me. There's been several where it's been like, oh, I don't think I have this issue because I don't recognize the cover. Being very visual, it's like I recognize the cover and I go, okay, I know that one. I know this one. I don't remember this one. And I buy it, and then you open up the packet, the bag at home, and you realize, oh, holy crap, this is that issue. I already own this one. It's just that they suckered me with a variant.
I could see that, and I'm assuming that different variants can be valuable too, right? I'm assuming like that's why they throw them out there. They're like, hey, get this one because it was done by so and so.
Yeah, there's a few of those, but then what they've done recently is kind of more of a scam variant, and what it is like it's a forced rarity and a forced false like increase in value because it's like it requires the comic shop that you go to buy a certain quantity of books.
Oh, geez.
So it's like if your comic shop buys 50, they will get one of these covers.
Yeah.
If your comic shop gets, 8, like 100 of them, they'll get this cover and this cover, which is like only one with every 100 ordered. And so it's already kind of rare because it's like they're not making as many, because these alternate covers are there. And so that's kind of a scam because it's like, if you really want that other cover, you have to kind of like make sure your local store is now stuck with 99 other copies of that issue in order for you to get that one. And then to make other issues of frustration is that comic stores themselves are now doing exclusives. And while that's not a bad thing per se, it's just like if you were a completist, it's like, okay, good luck. Because there's a great comic shop here in town. They do a great business, but they've got a tremendous deals where they've done a lot of DC and independent comic companies. And they've done a few Marvel where it is exclusive to their store, that cover. So like when Detective Comics 1000 and Action Comics 1000 came out, they had exclusive covers that you could only get at their store. And so if you were like an Action Comics completist, it's like you'd have to come all the way out to Indiana and find this little store that's kind of like, it's in South Bend area. It's like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
And how would you even know? I can't imagine being like the Overstreet price guide was a thing that used to catalog every issue out there and put a price tag on it. And I can't imagine how they're trying to keep up with it these days.
Now, do these little shops also sell on eBay as well? Or do a lot of them have you come in to your point, like you'd have to find this gem in the middle of Indiana, or are they putting it out there online, attempting to sell, or isn't that a thing?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. They've been online for so long. They were out there, like before online was cool. They had been selling stuff, so they've got enough presence that people who know them know that they're there. But they also do the eBay thing to try to find a little extra here or there to get it out.
If we're at a spot, can I ask my super newbie question?
Do it.
Okay. As I mentioned, I don't read some, so I've noticed a couple things that I jotted down that I was curious about. The major thing was, why are there multiple people involved? There's a person that does pencil and inks and coloring and lettering and art breakdown. It seems to be different individuals that do that. Am I correct?
A lot of it is to do with the assembly line process, and a lot of it's carried over from its original days. So if you go back to the golden age, and this is going to be super nerdy, so brace yourself and pull up the suspenders and get your pocket protector on, because this is going to be a big one. But back in the day, when they realized how popular comics were, they were just cranking these things out because they used to sell in the millions of issues. And they realized the more you create, the more you can get out there, the more money you can get from these, unsuspecting kids in the 40s. So with that said, they realized they made these art houses, these production houses where it was we need somebody who can just turn a story around in an hour, and we need you to just turn around the artwork. But the artwork wasn't able to be reproduced in pencil, so you'd have to reproduce it in a medium that would be higher contrast than pencil, so that you could clearly see the black and the white. That's where the ink came in. And it's we don't have time for you to stick around. You got to pencil and draw out another one of these things. We'll have somebody else come in and ink over your stuff, and then they'll erase your pencil. Then it went off, and it was a whole nother mess because color, obviously predating computers, all had to be done manually. And you had to make these ruby lifts. So it was a unique skill on it. These color separations is an incredibly unique skill to do that. So colors were different, and then a lot of times, more recent, artists and the writer would collaborate, and that's when they would have co-plotters. And then so that the writer would still get the writing credit, the penciler would still get the penciling credit, but then sometimes they would put like the word co-plotter in between the two, where because they collaborated so much that it just made sense for the two of them to, kind of get that dual credit. But yeah, it became factory. It's like if you go to any factory, one person doesn't make the entire car. Somebody may be assembling the front end and the engine block, is handled by a whole crew of people, and then ultimately one car is produced at the end of it. But you just had so many people along the line, so it is a conglomerate of individuals that come together, and it's even more so in Japan, where the manga that gets kicked out in Japan is just truly assembly line, because they have like these I'm going to butcher it, but Shonen Jump, and then there's the girl version, because Shonen Jump is for the boys. But those things come out every week, and it's like a huge, thick publication, and it has several different comics within it. So you basically are cranking, and so a lot of times they'll have like one person who'll do all these elaborate, like the people, and then another person does all the backgrounds. So
like
that's even broken up. Yeah, it's done completely different. So that one person who might be specializing in drawing the human form may not want to spend all the time doing all the architectural detail of a building or a skyline.
Is the art predetermined? Like the penciler? I imagine the penciler is the person that's coming up with the idea of what goes on the page, or am I wrong in that? Is there an artist that that's like, I want a skyscraper here with Superman flying across, grabbing a falling child out of the building, and then those people just draw what they're told to draw.
And then there's a couple different approaches to it. There's probably, I'd say, at least three. But the first one is like what you just said. The writer themselves come up. I want the top third of the page is going to be Superman zipping across the skyline and then sharp U-turn around this building to rescue a child who's fallen.
Okay.
And we'll go into hyper detail. And then, there was a word balloon saying, "I got you, little girl," or whatever it is. And then it'll say, okay, and then panel 2 is going to be this, and panel 3 is going to be this, and panel 5 is this. So that's in the script that the penciler would get. And then it's up to the penciler to determine like what the angle is and what the arrangement of all these components are in order for the flow of the page to make sense. But the second one is the Marvel method, where Stan Lee worked with a lot of the artists at the time, the Jack Kirby's, the Steve Ditko's, and so forth. And he would give them an overall, like, I want this to happen in this issue. Draw it out, and then he'd come back in and then put the words in afterwards. So, and then the third is where you have some who are like writers who have a lot of artistic talent. And I'm pretty certain Grant Morrison's one of them that does this. And Alan Moore will kind of do this as well. But they will actually provide what are called thumbnails. Like they'll basically draw the page themselves and how they see it in their head. And then they'll hand that off to the penciler. And the penciler will put their own style. And they may even change some of the layout as they see fit.
And then they hand, like back in the old days, they'd hand the art off to a letterer, and he would letter each thing by hand, and do the word balloons by hand, and then go to the colorist, and it'd be one after the other, and each person would have their specialty and all that. And then nowadays it's all done by computer, so people might even letter it. The artists might even letter it themselves or something, but nothing is done by hand as much anymore, which is that's why modern comics you get super detailed, because they can do it on computer, and you can do color schemes you could never dream of before. It's all magic of computers. But
another cautionary tale for any new collector is there's a thing called the speculator market.
Okay.
And as comics are continually kind of floating up and down in their pricing and so forth, the speculator market, when Jim Lee launched with Chris Claremont the first like X-Men issue, in the 90s, that was like X-Men #1. It was just called X-Men. That I think got close to 1 million, if not over 1 million. It was like at the time like the most produced comic or something like that, and people bought it like crazy. That issue had the highest selling in ages, if not ever. But now, so then at the time, people were like, "Holy crap, we got to get this! This is a start of a new era. This is going to be amazing!" And people want to jump on board because it's a #1 and so forth. And then they produce so many of them that if you go to any quarter bin, you'll find those issues in it. And the same with the death of Superman, the same with the all these like very marketing driven issues.
Yeah, I remember seeing articles about the death of Superman and how moms were buying issues so they could get their kids through college, in the future, and then they're not worth more than a buck or two.
I mean, that makes sense. There's always that people always want to get rich quick, so.
Yeah,
they played on that smartly for that marketing. Like I mentioned, I got serious about collecting 5 months ago, but a few years ago, I did buy a run of comics from my favorite author. If either of you read the Red Rising series at all, yep. So I bought that run. A, because I like them a lot, and B, because I was curious because they're year 3 or 4 into this TV series. Eventually, it's coming out, which I'm super excited about. But it's a good series if you guys are looking for a new series to read.
Now, is there a genre? Because you've mentioned a few, and it seems like they kind of cross over a few things. But, from the Turtles are of a certain thing. I can understand it. Like, yeah, if you grew up with it and the familiarity that it has. But is there like a genre of book or that would attract you to a comic these days? Is like, oh, it's got to have this or this in order for me. Or it's like, it's got to have, a bunch of people in spandex flying all over the cover in order to attract.
Well, right now, basically it is a cover art. If anything, that would grab my first, like the Black Panther covers. I really like the colors and the art on it. So it's like, oh, let me see what these are all about. But other than that, no, there's not I don't need an X-Men or I never really was into DC. I don't know if that's again from a childhood thing. Like I like Superman, but it never really grabbed my attention.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Guess what's going to hit the editing room floor?
I'm going to make you say I love DC Comics.
I love Superman. As a child, I was basically raised by Superman. He babysat me.
With the movies being as popular as they are and so forth, did that help you feel like you could walk into a comic shop without feeling like, oh man? Because I mean, oddly enough, even though I spent the last 20 plus years in toys, I always felt weird walking into a store and like without a kid in tow to buy a toy. There's a stigma that goes along with it. Do you feel any of that? Like now with the movies being popular, it's like, I could probably go into a comic shop without feeling like I'm walking into nerddom.
No, I mean, I guess I haven't thought about that. No, I would not have a problem. The only problem I would have is I would probably want to be left alone so they wouldn't understand how little I knew. Like if they'd walk up and be like, how can I help you? I'd be like, leave me alone. Like, I don't know. I'd be in the corner with my phone, like double checking everything. I wouldn't want to be like, wow, what's the 60th episode of this series? And they'd be like, what are you talking about episode?
Right, yeah.
It's not a TV show.
Yeah, Kevin hasn't gone into a comic store yet, so.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So your acquisitions have been purely online.
All in the darkness of my basement.
So you're even doing this in secret. You're like, I can't even do it under, out in public. It's like, it's gotta be like, okay, did I double lock the door? Did I drop the chain?
That's how
I got the chair propped up.
That's how all his relationships go. It's all in the dark.
It's all in the dark. It's all behind multiple locked doors. 10 pages of locks.
Somebody's knocking on the door, wanting to get in. What are you doing down there? Killing a man.
Nothing, Mom.
Nothing. Yes.
Just a little bit longer.
Well, this has been fun. I gotta go. Too much is being revealed. This was on the list.
Hitting too close to home.
No, I would. Well, again, back to the Red Rising. I did walk in, but I had an ultimate goal of going to get that. So I have been in the vault of that. It's
Okay.
Vault of Midnight, right?
Yep.
Is that the store downtown? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been there, so I know where it is. I would probably feel comfortable going back in there. I'd probably really like to go to the Comic-Con, or Comic-Con. Am I saying that wrong?
Grand Rapids Comic Con.
Yeah, because that'd be interesting. Because I feel like there'd be so much going on. I could just kind of float around and not feel the pressure of.
Yeah, there's no
Like, I feel
pressure.
going into shops. It'd all be self-pressured, but I feel like if I go in there and just kind of browse, I'd have to buy something, and then I'd end up buying something I probably didn't want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I feel that pressure
Yeah.
too when I go to a comic store. It's like, oh, even if I don't want anything, it's like, I'm in here, and I know this is a small business, and I'll buy something. But I mean, usually it doesn't take much for me to buy anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
twist my arm. Okay, I'll buy a comic book. Oh no, now I have 4 in my hand.
Yeah. Where do these keep coming from? They're leaping out of the box into my hands. Well, yeah, and then you're going to get somebody who's going to ask you to cosplay as a leprechaun. So you're going
Is that the starter
Definitely.
cosplay
to, yeah.
entry?
No, I saw a couple people at substantial height playing. There's certain cosplay people who should, and they realize their body shape works for certain things or lends themselves well. And then there's others that are like, whew, yeah, maybe not. You shouldn't, that Princess Leia, Slave Leia costume is not necessarily well fitted for you.
Yeah,
Now, this is-
I feel like I would be going as either a Dozer from Fraggle Rock or maybe Hagrid. Is he a character?
Yeah,
That's allowed.
Yeah,
yeah, you can
Yeah.
get great at a convention.
I could pull that off.
you'd get a lot of fans. I mean, you'd get a lot of fans coming right up to you and say, "Hey, sir, can I get a picture with you?"
You know you're serious when you're talking about cosplaying at a convention, Kevin. You're
Yeah,
all in,
Yeah.
right?
we can
that's
talk
the price
about
of
it.
admission.
Actually, pulling it off is another thing. I do love Halloween, though. I'm not gonna lie. Halloween is my favorite. I heard that she's not allowed on the podcast.
He said, you heard that. You're not allowed on the podcast. She said, ask about the lion costume.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I mean, this isn't comic related, but I can tell the story if you'd like.
Go for it.
Again, I love Halloween, and part of that is when the band, we'd always play a Halloween show. So one year we went as Wizard of Oz. Singer was Dorothy, bass player was Tin Man, Scarecrow, drummer, and I was the lion, of course, shocker.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, because not only am I tall, I'm big too. I'm 6'7", 300. So I couldn't find the costume in the store that would fit me. So I went and bought the fabric, and my grandma made me a lion costume. And it was quality. Like, I probably could have turned around and sold it after I was done with it. Quality costume. But instead of selling it, I just proceeded to wear it the next 10 Halloweens in a row. So. In fact, there's pictures of it at work too. Katie has. She could show you it.
Okay.
I wasn't the lion, but I used it in a costume. So
Yeah, we'll
Brilliant.
have to put that on the webpage.
yeah. But yeah, that's a fine. I still have it hanging in my closet. So
Nice. I mean, if you have a quality costume, you might as well reuse it.
yeah, I guess it would. Could Wizard of Oz characters be? I guess
Oh,
that's.
Yeah. Well, what you could do and what's been the latest fashion is to try to find a way of like subverting the Wizard of Oz. Like, oh no, this is steampunk Wizard of Oz is different, or this is Wizard of Oz from the year 3000.
What
You
was?
could always sexify, it's sexy Dorothy.
I can't think of his name, but John Candy and Spaceballs. What was?
Oh,
his?
Barf.
Yeah,
Short for
Goes Barf.
Bartholomew. He's a Mog, half man, half dog. So without having gone into a store, so you're picking these things up. Well, now that you have gotten a few issues under your belt, have you found that other people, or have you made any other contacts, or is this still such a secret interest of yours?
I guess on eBay, I'm not on like full on talking with people, but I'll get offers from people I bought from before because they obviously know them. Like I bought a few from the same seller, so all of a sudden I'll get an email saying, "Hey, you want to put a bid on this, or you want this at 20% off, whatnot." But as far as real human contacts that I know personally, no, none of that so far.
I'll get a random text from Kevin every once in a while asking about something.
Because it is kind of interesting. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't know that you were into comics. Well, let me tell you this. And then they show you that they got like a vault that's, temperature controlled and everything. It's like, this is the room. You wondered why we had this whole back of the house completely sealed off for everybody else. It was interesting because I've had a couple of instances where it's like, hey, you like games? Yeah, I like games. Well, come on over. And it's like, holy crap, you really do like games.
Yeah, you like games.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like games, but you obviously like games.
But it was good to get to that convention yesterday to see how many people were out and about in a convention setting, getting comics, and then all walks of life and parade of cosplay to regular run-of-the-mill individuals. It was it was a really good opportunity to be back out there. And if you can make it, it looks like it's April 8th through the 10th. There in Grand Rapids. Could be good. That would be actually a really good opportunity to have you walk in front of us as we just record your responses.
Just wear a GoPro. I'll be staring left and right.
What's this? Having gone to various conventions around, it is interesting, that every one of them has their own, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, their own personality.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of a fun, like, Andy and I used to go to the one out in the Detroit area, and when it was small, it was just like, you was like going and meeting with friends, it was so small. Then it became Novi, then it became like Motor City Comic Con, and that's when it was like, and this is now official Comic Con. It became very, very kind of corporate and like overwhelming almost.
Like I'll have nothing to compare it to, but I got to imagine it's it's not going to be the same level with a California one or even a Detroit one, and it's just our area's Grand Rapids. So
yeah, it's still growing.
It'll be like going to a metal show here versus a metal show in Flint.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. The crowd in Grand Rapids is probably a little bit more restrained.
Yeah.
This is something that was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was sacrilege, but when I got married, my wife thought she would do something nice and make a collage of all these like comics that I had that had meaning. So she grabbed a bunch of comics, cut them up, and pasted them together, kind of scrapbook style.
Wow.
And it's like, and I don't know if you remember that at all, Andy, seeing those framed.
I do. It's a frequent nightmare of mine.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, these are that issue and this issue and that issue are now completely gone. So that kind of that's like we have a connection that you can't see anything like that being destroyed. So like when you would see like Pete Townsend and his guitar at any end of his did that fill you with cringe as well, or is it just something us in the comic groups having that tight fixation with it?
When I see that happen, I'm like, don't waste that guitar, just give it to me. But like, I never. That's funny because as hyped up as I've ever gotten, I've never wanted to destroy an actual instrument. But of course, I don't have Pete Townsend's money either.
Yeah.
So, or I take that back. Pretty sure he never paid for any of his guitars, but because he's sponsored. But yeah, I do have similar to that story. I've had all our shirts. I've made our merchandise basically all over the years, so I have every single one of our shirts. The only thing I don't have is a hoodie. So if you ever see a Thunder Chicken hoodie in the wild, let me know about it.
All right, I will.
That'll be my collector's item I'm looking for. But anyways, so I have every single one of our shirts, and my mother, she wanted to make a blanket out of everyone, and I went over their house once, and they were all laid out, and because I hadn't gotten them out of their basement yet. It kind of got stored there when I bought my house, but I went downstairs, and I'm like, why are all these shirts laid out? And she's like, oh, I'm gonna make a blanket out of them. I was like, no, you're not. quickly was able to scoop them all up.
Saved. Luckily you came over then.
Yeah. Well, who knows how long they've been sitting there. She probably pulled them out weeks ago.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. I think we got enough for an episode.
And then some.
And
then we know what's going to be cut already.
right,
Three-part series.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for Kevin, we'll pass them along. You know, if you have books to sell them, everything like that, just, let us know.
Inflated rate.
We have a Gmail. It's and this is why I love comics at gmail.com. We are on the Twitter. We are everywhere. You download a podcast, so check us out. Tell a friend. Kevin, thanks for coming on the podcast. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll
It was
do this
fun.
again.
A lot of fun.
Thank you again for Thunder Chicken. And
Yeah, thank
and
you.
all that music. Leave us a 5-star review if you like us that much. Otherwise, don't bother. And this is why I love comics. This is Andy,
And this Michael.
and that's Kevin.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. And here's some Thunder Chicken.
Conveniently.
Don't get away that easily, because to you everything comes easy. You
Yeah, everything that there's after-school specials for, I did as a child. So,
You're the reason they made
I'm
those.
the reason.
Yeah.
Luckily
Yeah.
survived them.
Every title could have had comma Kevin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
comma Kevin. Yeah,
Well, that's the new title of the episode, comma.
comma Kevin. Yeah,
Yeah. The dangers of crossing the street. Kevin.
yeah, yeah. Don't wear wear a bicycle helmet, Kevin.
Glass is not edible, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.